Okay, welcome back. But it's a big story coming through on the bottom of the screen. This is Viatec Vabag. The companies will use fund towards capital project investment. I think there is some money coming into Viatec Vabag, the first one, the first news flash. Signs non-binding term sheet with Norfund-led consortium for $100 million funding over the next 3 to 5 years. We'll try and have the management join us to talk to us about this one. So it's a widely tracked name in the right space. Stocks corrected from, I think the highs were closer to 2,000 and now are just under 1,400 rupees or so. Well, let's talk about all the financial news flow from last night. Manappuram, of course, was the big one. That Bain Capital deal has finally come through, widely anticipated, as I said earlier. Shweta Daptardar is Vice President, Diversified Financials at Elara Securities. Shweta, good morning. Good to have you with us here. What did you make of it? And what does the stock do, really? I mean, lots of fans for Manappuram, lots of backers, really people who were willing to bet on Manappuram doing very well. It's kind of struggled, though, relative to the larger peer, which is Muthoot. Does the Bain deal provide some structural tailwinds from here?
Yes, good morning, Prashant. So as you rightly pointed out, this is definitely a turning point in the journey of Manappuram business. Bain deal happening especially at a premium of over 30% over last 6 months. Stock price definitely provides or instills confidence amongst the investors in terms of growth as well as professionalization prospects going forward. Most importantly, as you rightly pointed out, Manappuram has been dealing with challenges with increased regulatory scrutiny, especially on usurious pricing, as well as microfinance-led challenges. So the timing of the deal is also opportune, and we believe going forward, this definitely puts up the entire management team and prospects in the right perspective.
Right. Shweta, as per your model and the prices at which Manappuram and Muthoot are trading right now, what is the valuation discount between the two? And post this deal, do you see a case for that multiple discount to narrow? If yes, then by how much?
Yes, so if we compare the largest market leader in the space, that is Muthoot Finance, who is trading at 2.4x price to book FY27, and if you compare that with Manappuram, which is still trailing way too behind at 1.1x, so you see there is massive valuation gap, and rightly so. But with this news, while the gap should narrow, it shouldn't be completely closed, given that Manappuram is yet to deal with structural challenges. Execution is also key, and we also certainly believe that once the entire transaction consummates in Q2, Q3 FY26, we also reckon there will be 1 or 2 quarters of kitchen sinking for all the cleanup that is required. So we believe while the gap will narrow in the first place, I think it will not completely close vis-a-vis the top-notch market player.
To your mind, what should the ideal multiple for Manappuram be versus Muthoot?
Yeah, so yesterday night, post the news, we have upgraded the valuation multiple to 1.3x forward. We were initially valuing at 1x, although it definitely deserves slightly higher multiple than what we are currently envisaging. But like we mentioned, we are still reeling under pressures, both externally as well as Manappuram per se internally. So definitely we'll keep a close watch. And like I said, execution is key. So for now, we would sort of be slightly reluctant to go overboard given the scenario on even the macro trend side.
Shweta, that's on Manappuram, the gold financiers in that big deal. The other big news last night was, of course, Bajaj Finance. So Mr. Rajeev Jain has been elevated to Vice Chairman and ED now. The stock's done really well, actually. It's been the best performing stock of 2025 so far in a difficult market phase. What's your call on it, and how do you see this management development?
Yes, morning, Surabhi. So yes, Bajaj Finance definitely has did well, especially in past 1 quarter, and rightly so in anticipation of this big news with Rajeev Jain being elevated. But the good point or the brighter side here to look at is he's being elevated and continues to remain associated with Bajaj Finance. So there were a lot of speculations that he would be going into a chairmanship role at the parent company or might take a back seat. So the biggest and the brightest side is he continues to be there. providing mentoring and supervision and the Bajaj Finance business. So that's definitely positive. Second, if we look at the industry per se, the unsecured lending challenges are receding. The RBI coming up and mentioning that they are satisfied as far as personal loans slash unsecured lending traction is concerned. So that comes as a big positive. I mean, given the fact that NBFCs have been dealing with or navigating a peculiar landscape for the entire FY25, certain reliefs coming from the regulatory per se definitely bode well. And last but not the least, the rate cut tailwinds will definitely augur well for financiers like Bajaj Finance.
So what are your top NBFC picks right now?
Yeah, so in the current scheme of things, we continue to maintain positive stance on Bajaj Finance. We definitely believe gold financiers are ahead in terms of recovery. So we like Muthoot Finance. We like Shriram Finance. We believe there are tailwinds emerging, although there is divergence in terms of how CVs and sub-segments of CVs would perform. But Shriram definitely is a value pick. And last but not the least, we still have inclination for PSU financiers, wherein we continue to place our bets even on Power Finance Corporation.
All right. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us your views on a whole host of financials. You still like the PSU financials, and you believe that there is room for further multiple upgrades coming in for Manappuram as well, and good news coming in from Bajaj Finance. So that's about the NBFC space this morning. Let's